So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a ServiceNow meetup focused on OTSM module. And I'm glad that we could all come together and attend this very important discussion, which is very relevant to the times that we are living in. It is hosted by AvanteNow, and I'm very glad to introduce the CEO of AvanteNow, who will be doing the welcome address for us. Aditya Garg. Aditya is a digital transformation leader with over 2 decades of experience helping global enterprises, and he's driving business value through intelligent automations. He has founded Avante now, and he's a focused and a very tech known guy, and in his community revered as his with his achievements. He has a deep expertise in ServiceNow and regulated industries like QSR and BFSI and healthcare itself. He brings a strategic lens to technology adoption, bridging the gap between compliance and innovation. And we are glad to have him here. He's our host. And over to you, Aditya. We are looking forward to have a very fruitful session with you. All
Thank
yours.
you so much. Thank you so much. And let me share my screen. If give me a second. Is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's visible.
Yeah. So thanks, Meghna, for setting the context. Let me also give you a quick agenda for today. I will do a very small, quick introduction and a welcome address and give you a little insight on what is OTSM, followed by a wonderful session by Sri Lakshmi. She is going to talk about operational technology service management in ServiceNow, which is with a practical introduction. And then I will again become a moderator, and we have two experts. One is Sri Lakshmi, whom you would hear, and then we have also Kumar Sarma with us. He's an expert, and the panel discussion is related to the OT environments on what is basically all about asset lifecycle and visibility within OT environments. This was supposed to be a physical meetup in Copenhagen with networking and refreshments. Rather than that, we'll have it an open Q&A. Maybe panel discussions can continue based on how we could excite you or we could give you some insights. Based on that, we would love to have an interaction going on. Okay. On that note, let me quickly welcome you all. A warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining this meetup. Officially, I'm calling this as a Copenhagen's first meetup that AvanteNow is organizing. Maybe we can organize more. Today being a very harsh weather, yesterday it began. I and Srikanth and Kumar and Sri Lakshmi were all supposed to welcome you all in Copenhagen. Sri Lakshmi was supposed to travel from Oslo. She cancelled her ticket. And Kumar is based out of Copenhagen and Srikanth is based out of Copenhagen. I traveled all the way to make sure that we could do this wonderful meetup and meet you in person. But again, pleasure is all mine to welcome you in this online one, and maybe we can organize more physical meetups and in-person meetups in coming months. On that note, I'll quickly give a 1 minute introduction about what is AvanteNow. AvanteNow is the company behind this meetup, and it's a pure play ServiceNow company. We are based out of Denmark with ODCs in India. And idea is what we want to make sure that we can bring a very competitive and value for money ServiceNow implementations to international markets. And we are now expanding and we have presence in Middle East, Europe, and we may be there in Australia as well. We are a ServiceNow partner. And our core competencies lie in ITSM, obviously, then CSM, HRSD, ITAM, IRM, ITOM, and now we have expanded into OTSM as well. So this is quickly about AvanteNow. We are around 50 plus members, all certified, and we excel in delivering value for money implementations, consulting, and then AMS services as well. All right. So why we are here? Okay. So the topic again, just for everybody's introduction, let me bring the topic again. It's OTSM in ServiceNow. That's the topic for the meetup. Okay. And as part of the welcome address, I have been asked to give a quick background about why we are here and what exactly is this. So when I talk about operational technology, there are few terms which basically everyone should understand. Like for how many of you are from electronics background? Maybe you can unmute and say yes or no.
Yeah, I'm from electronics and computer science.
Very nice. So look, there are certain terms I would ask you: PLC, SCADA, RTU, DCS, SIS, MES. So does these terms ring bell?
Yeah, programming a logic control unit. Yeah,
Yes.
that control all the industry parts.
Yes. SCADA.
But also this control the capture the units of industry. That also like a PLC control unit that add a code on the programming language and that connect the hardware's device on the computer. We can analyze and connected network.
Very nice. See, again, guys, when we talk about a specific topic, and if I'm talking about ITSM, ITSM is basically information technology service management. It is all IT devices. When I talk about operational technology, what is operational technology? Any manufacturing, any big factory, any large establishment, any large enterprises. When you have these operations going on, there is basically a lot of these operational technology terms or basically devices like PLC. I'm talking devices, but there may be a complete combination of multiple devices in itself, multiple sensors, multiple control units, multiple systems, and these terms are called as PLCs, SCADAs, RTUs. So before I jump into what exactly this is, let me give you some definitions as well. Okay. What are these? As what Amit said, PLC is programmable logic controller. Okay. SCADA full form is supervisory control and data acquisition. RTU stands for remote terminal units. DCS stands for distributed control systems. SIS is safety instrumented systems. MES is manufacturing execution system. Okay, by the way, these may be used in combination or in separate industries, like for example, in energy sector, or for example, in different, like for example, power sector, or for any manufacturing company, right? But the two most important terms within operational technology is one is programmable logic controller, which is PLC. Second is SCADA. Okay, so PLC is nothing but an industrial computer which is used to control machines, any processes in factories. Remember, when we talk about operational technology, we are talking about basically factories, manufacturing, big, large manufacturing companies, energy sector, for example, oil and refineries, big refineries have got multiple machines in there, or maybe smaller factory itself. It does not matter. So we're talking about a PLC controlling basically things. For example, in any automation, any robotics, any assembly lines. And these are actually designed for very harsh environments, very when the heat goes up or when there's extreme cold, like for today, when the temperatures, when I landed in Copenhagen, I saw minimum temperature -2 and maximum, can you imagine, it was -1. So I was laughing. -1 and -2 is minimum and maximum. And with wind, it actually was -14 degrees centigrade. Can our factories run in this highly harsh environments? Yes. And I am from Jodhpur, Rajasthan, where the temperature touches 51 degrees centigrade, harsh. So look at extreme temperatures from basically 50 degrees centigrade to -20, -30 degrees centigrades, right? And we have got automation all over. And these are basically PLCs are provided by common vendors like Siemens, Rockwell, Allen Bradley, Schneider, Mitsubishi. Now we can control conveyor belts, we can control traffic lights, we can control any production equipment, right? This is PLC. When we talk about SCADA, it is supervisory control and data acquisition. Now they are again, by the way, PLC is part of SCADA. So they're not different. SCADA cannot actually come on its own. It's a combination of multiple things. There are 5 components if you look at it: field devices, PLCs and remote termination units, communication network, SCADA servers, and then human machine interface. Human machine interface means that there would be somebody controlling them, right? And generally, these are industrial control systems used to monitor, control, collect data. Okay. And SCADA allows operators to see what's happening in real time, control machines and processes remotely, collect and store data for analysis and reporting, respond to alarms and failures quickly. So SCADA is actually a much bigger, what you call system, which collects data from a lot of these sensors, a lot of these devices, field devices, PLCs, and there is a communication network. It is actually binding all these devices, collecting all these things, right? That is where the operational technology comes into play, right? On that note, let me come back to my first slide. Why are we here? Okay. We say that operational technology runs the business. And the second part, which is there, we say, but managing it is still fragmented, right? Across industries, OT environments are extremely business critical. All of these factories we are talking about, anything stops, anything goes down, the entire factory goes down, refineries goes down, power sector, the entire, basically the power can go down. And obviously, when you got all these things, basically multiple factories, multiple systems, they can be distributed, but they are connected. When we talk about SCADAs and all, they're connected. We can actually monitor them, we can control them. And there is basically no traditional IT governance. There is no governance happening there, right? And that is the gap. That is what is all about we're talking about. Now, when we talk about OTSM, why OTSM is important, we say that modern industrial environments rely on operational technologies like, for example, controllers, robotics, sensors, and plant floor systems to keep production running. And ServiceNow OTSM actually provides centralized visibility, security, management. So this basically OTSM, which is operational technology service management, which ServiceNow provides, is a glue. It is actually bringing all these things which are siloed, which are separated, making it all together. Okay. Now, what is happening around this is that OT, which is these technologies like PLCs, SCADAs, DTUs or RTUs or whatever these are no longer isolated. They cannot be managed that way. And we don't want reactive operational technology support. We don't want siloed tools and teams. We don't want limited visibility. We want basically an integrated service-driven operational technology management, right? Now, let's talk about a fragmentation. This is one example. Let's say bottling plant knows line 3 stops frequently, right? It knows that when I say frequently, once in a while, once in like a week or once in 2 weeks, line 3, which is bottling plant line 3, which is manufacturing this bottle, stops. Operational technology data like PLC, SCADA shows when it stopped. It will give you the information when it stopped. MES is basically the manufacturing execution system, will show that how many units were lost, how many bottles we could not manufacture, right? Maintenance system shows that these are the repairs, but there is no system which explain why this is failing again and again, why line 3 stops frequently. There is no connection. They're working separately, all good. But as an operational technology, service management is missing. Okay, there's another one. Okay, this, let's say transform in an energy sector, let's say transformer overheats. SCADA raises an alarm. Ye transformer has heated, something can go wrong. Maintenance history is in a different system, which is SAP. Condition monitoring data is in a vendor portal. Root cause analysis takes weeks. Why did it happen? Nobody knows. Root cause analysis is completely missing. So operational technology keeps electricity flowing, but preventive insights are disconnected. That's where OTSM comes into play. So this is where it fits. Every industry context, it can help. Risk appetite, we can actually make sure that there could be all these things which can be managed well, risk can be managed well. We can connect legacy environments. We can look at increasing the organizational maturity. So this is in theory, it's already happening on the ground. OTSM is going great guns. It is bringing all these and gluing all these operational technologies together. Okay. And that is where today's conversation matters. Okay. We say operational technology with all these devices, all these PLCs, SCADAs, controllers, sensors, lot many more sensors cost has gone down, complexity has increased. But at the same time, exposure to risk is growing. Anything which can go down, it can impact multiple people, multiple systems, multiple, what you call brand value can erode. All those risks are extremely high. Okay. And expectations on uptime and resilience are higher than ever. That is where, if we are talking about a proper system like OTSM, we can do it pragmatically and at scale. That is what is OTSM all about. Okay. And today we want to make sure that the conversation is practitioner led, experience driven, which basically people will share, interactive and open. We don't want to do any sales pitch. It's not a product demo and it is not going to be one-way conversation. I want all of you to basically interact and ask. Okay. Again, coming back to the agenda, I don't know whether I completed my 15 minutes. I'm well in time. I would like to basically just tell you the next session is going to be extremely insightful by Sri Lakshmi. And then we would get into a panel discussion and then open networking session where we'll be asked questions and all. Okay. I would like to welcome Sri Lakshmi. She is our next speaker and a ServiceNow consultant. She comes with around 18 plus years of experience and extremely strong specialization in driving automation, aligning technology with business strategy, and shaping future-ready IT roadmaps. So welcome, Sri Lakshmi. And then we have Kumar Sharma, who is a ServiceNow consultant in Copenhagen. By the way, Sri Lakshmi lives in Oslo, Norway. Kumar is from Copenhagen, and he is a ServiceNow consultant with 12 plus years of experience. An expert across ITSM, IRM, GRC, SPM, which is Portfolio Program Management, ITOM as well, CSM, CSDM, and a complete expert in core platform architecture. He has got 5 plus years of platform admin experience supporting MSPs and on-prem environments, right? So on that note, I would like to basically welcome Sri Lakshmi for our session, and let's begin. All right. So mine was more like a welcome session. Really thankful for you to giving me this opportunity for doing this welcome session, first meetup that we are doing here. Thank you so much, guys. And over to you, Sri Lakshmi.
Thank you so much, Adi. I'm going to bring up my screen. Hope you all can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Avanti, for giving me this opportunity. And I'm glad to spend this evening with all of you, sharing some meaningful insights about OTSM.
Sorry, Lakshmi, still you are not on the presentation mode.
Yeah, you need to do a presentation mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So, good evening, everyone. Today I'll share a practical introduction to OTSM. OTSM basically is Operational Technology Service Management. We are also going to deep dive into how ServiceNow fits into tool consolidation and what tool consolidation is all about. When we frequently say OT, it is not over time, though operational technology incidents always result in overtime, but that's not what we're going to talk about. And the reason this topic matters is pretty much as explained by Adi, is because OT environments are where the real world is impacted. When IT goes down, it's painful. But when OT goes down, the production stops, we disrupt utilities, and in some cases, even impact safety. So in the next 1 hour, close to 1 hour, I'm going to explain what OTSM is. We again will touch base on the 3 buzzwords in the OT industry, which is PLCs, SCADA, and DCs. I will try to explain with a story. Also explain what OTSM is and how ServiceNow is going to support OT workflows and governance, and walk through a real style incident. And we will also touch base on what the blueprint rollout idea that we have in mind, and how do we deploy it across sites and customers. Moving on, what is OT? We all know OT is operational technology. Operational technology is basically a technology that is, I would say, is the technology behind the machines. We all have been in the IT, so we know that for us, technology is more of what is used for supporting the applications. In IT, we manage systems like, for example, finance or email application, Microsoft applications, or ERP applications, right? It's more of user-oriented applications is IT. And OT is industrial machines. It's pumps, motors, production lines, and power distribution and safety controls. So it's a real world where operations are highly critical. Or I would like to run it through a story. The sensors that are used in the industries are the eyes, the PLCs are the brain, the motors, valves, they are the muscles, and SCADA that we just discussed about is the screen that shows what's happening in the industry. And OTSM and ServiceNow together will be a hospital or help desk process that manages issues properly. Let me give you an example. A car factory line has robotics and conveyors. If one motor fails, the whole line can stop. Let's take one more example. Water treatment plants, for example, they must keep pressure under stable and also the chemical dosing under control, and alarms always monitored. So you can imagine how critical it is to have the operations under control in the real OT environments. I can also tell you that in IT, it's the business, it's the users who are impacted. But in OT, real world, it's safety and uptime and availability, which is impacted and critical. I'll move on. We'll talk about some core components of OT, which is again PLC, SCADA, and DCs. These are the three buzzwords we hear all the time. PLCs are nothing but the, I would say, more of computers that control the machines and the logic, basically. Let me explain you with an example. For example, if there is a bottling line and a bottle is missing, the PLC stops filling the bottle to avoid spilling. So that's the job of PLC. It's more of controlling the machines and the logic behind how the machines should operate. And when it comes to SCADA, it's more of, as you can see here, it's more of supervision and visibility. We have SCADA operators. SCADA is a tool using which the operators see and supervise what is happening. It's more like control room screens, we can say, or with the alarms pop up, but SCADA is just one source where we see the alarms popping up. Or I would say, to closely connect, SCADA is like Netflix, just that you see alarms, just alarms on Netflix. Moving on, DCs. DCs is typically used for large continuous processes. Is also a control, I would say, controlling unit, but for large continuous processes. For example, you have chemical plants. We don't pause any of the chemical plants easily because DCs keep everything under stable. I can cite some examples like temperature control loops or pressure control. These are some examples that a DCs would perform. Moving on, what is OTSM? We all know ITSM. We have been familiar with the guidelines of ITSM and the value addition. OTSM is nothing but an extension or adaptation of ITSM principles to OT environments under the OT constraints. So OT runs the plant and OTSM runs the support process. And the critical modules are definitely incident, change, knowledge and reporting remains the same. OTSM is nothing but it's a structured way of dealing with the OT incidents. As Adi rightly said, without OTSM, for example, if there is an alarm on a pump consistently, without OTSM, we fix it and move on. But with OTSM, we look at the trends, we do the root cause, we look at the repeat incidents, and we fix them. The real challenge in OTSM is because the source of these alarms is from multiple sources. When I say multiple sources, you have SCADA alarms, you have OT security alarms, and we have various other sources from which events get generated. And the real challenge is tracking of these incidents, duplication, and handing over it to the right resolver group. This has been the challenge in the industry. And also the biggest challenge in OT industry is knowledge is as there is no tool that is helping them, that had helped them until now. There's nothing on the system. It was in the heads of those super engineers, and the knowledge has been lost. So with OTSM, we wanted to achieve it. It is not bureaucracy. With OTSM, we wanted to achieve fast response, clear ownership, and traceability. Let's look at an example, incident style example, how an OT alert becomes a resolved incident. For example, an alert pops up from any of the sources. We automatically create an incident. It gets assigned, investigated, resolved. Incident gets reported. We attach the knowledge article. We ensure the issues are not repeating. I'll take a moment to review the Purdue stack at this point. Reason being, most of you would relate ITSM to OTSM, and we know that configuration item, which is the affected CI, is one of the sources for incidents. Same would be for OTSM. We have impacted configuration item. The real challenge lies here. This is the network structure of OT. We have various layers. 4 and 5 are IT. 0 to 3 have been confidential OT network zones. And we have 3.5, which is a demilitarized zone, which will help us help IT talk to OT if needed. And I was talking about blueprint deployment per customer per site. I really meant not all OT businesses are the same. We understand that ServiceNow is not going to run OT. It's going to run this support process for OT. And the priorities change from plant to plant, customer to customer. So we have a blueprint that can easily be deployed to other customer sites. So what changes in each deployment is the network constraints, integrations, because the source tools could differ for each of these customers. I'll take a moment and quickly show you. This is my PDA. We have an industrial workspace. We have OT devices. Please note, out of box, we don't have OT tables as such. If needed, you can extend CMDB-CI to CMDB-CI OT and record all your incidents. And you have OT network, which is above 3.5. None of the OT asserts will have the complete details of the assert, not even the IP, because those were the regulations that OT would have to abide by. We can look at one sample incident that I've created. Intermittent loss of communication between SCADA and PLCs at the site plant A. As you can see, impacted incident, affected devices. And I've created one SCADA unit. You can pretty much the same. The priority is decided based on the impact and urgency. We can the respective knowledge articles pop up based on the description of the issue that is keyed in, if there are knowledge articles. Otherwise, we can report knowledge gap. And we can create an OT change. An incident can drive a change. OT and IT are different in many means. As we discussed, the priorities are different. And in OT, the changes do not happen just like that because the intention of changes is bringing in more stability. And I go back to the list. Requests pretty much the same. You can assign tasks. You can create changes. There are two basic change templates. When you create a change, you can agree upon a change template as per the customer needs. These are out of box. You can create more knowledge articles. These are some service graph connectors for importing the tasks and asserts. This is about it. If there are any questions, I would like to take some questions if there are any.
Yes, Lakshmi, I have one question.
Yeah.
So, as I understand, because I have prior experience in DevOps and cloud, so I feel that it's very closely aligned to SRE practices and observability. Am I correct in my understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Just that the environments are different. That's a great question.
Right.
It's just that the application of OTSM is only to pertaining to OT networks.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I have one doubt.
Please.
Like in the ServiceNow, we have a method that discovery and import the Excel. And the third one, that is OT connectors. We are used to connect the system of industry. So why they are use ServiceNow? That if they are already have OT connector that already detect the system and all the control thing. So they use ServiceNow that only incident and manage the problem in the document format just for that.
I think, are you asking why not ITSM? Why an extension to OTSM? Is that the question?
Yeah, they have already have OT connector networks and all system in the industry level that detect the vulnerability and all the thing. So why we use a ServiceNow in this?
Okay, as you can see in this slide, OT and IT are not connected. Their network circumstances are completely different. And I don't think you can run discovery. I don't think you cannot run discovery in OT networks at all. because the intention of using ServiceNow for OTSM is nowhere going to expose how the plants are going to run. That will still remain confidential. I don't think we would get any visibility to how the network is set up and the layers and the details of the assets. No, we would only be receiving that, yes, it's a SCADA and the issue is with the connected machines, but I don't think we will get that visibility that Discovery can go in and find out all by itself. No.
Amit, I can also augment what is happening is when you have got these operational technology and you have got those systems which are already there, they actually are independent systems, right? For example, you could have an operational technology managing one part, you could have SCADA system managing other part, but there is no interconnectivity and no collection of things across. So you could basically, that's why you need what you call centralized management to basically show what exactly on enterprise level or an organization level, how various operational technologies exist. That's what Discovery and CMDB is all about. That's what Sri Lakshmi is talking. And that's why ServiceNow OTSM has got great value.
Yeah.
Okay. And to add to that one, Amit, so what exactly OTSM does, so all your system, whatever existing SCADA, PLC, everything, it is only an alert system. It will just show you this is what wrong thing happened. But really the service now comes in a picture. After that, what we need to do.
Yeah, that incident management.
Yeah,
That
yeah, correct.
and
So whatever the signals we are getting through the PLC or SCADA and whatever things, after that the ServiceNow will make it as actionable workflows. Then how to route it, to how to solve this, how to prevent it from happening again and again.
yeah, like a discom system that they use incident management. When we call him, he captured the network. Yeah,
Exactly, you got it. Yep.
Shiva. Yes, ServiceNow is not going to manage the plant. ServiceNow is going to manage the alerts, consolidate the alerts through various integrations, which is why I think in the other slide, I said deploy per site. What differs? The yellow, you can see tool integrations differ for each customer and each site. When we could have multiple sites for each customer, right? But the constraints could differ. So when it comes to implementation, it's more of integrations, ensuring that the network layers that we would want to set up are intact, and the assert inventory. I think that's pretty much all when it comes to you feeding ServiceNow to be able to fit to run OTSM.
So I have one following question on what we were discussing just now. So OTSM alone is not enough. Ultimately, it has to integrate with ITSM to take it forward. Am I correct? Because it will give the data, just gathering data will not serve the purpose unless we act on it. Am I correct?
In a way, that is right. But OTSM is not different from ITSM. OTSM is an extension or adaptation of ITSM for OT constraints. And the constraints are nothing but the source of your incidents, right? And your configuration items and asserts.
Yes.
But otherwise, it's pretty much ITSM applied to OT constraints.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. If you allow me two questions. One question regarding the license. Is it licensed by transaction or by user for this one, or by machine? What kind of license we get from this one?
I'm not sure if I can answer the licensing related questions. If there is anybody else who can answer.
That we'll probably
Yeah,
try
I
to
was
take.
also thinking exactly the same. How things are licensed here, or what's the business structure? How the business structured? Like, because the inventory could be very large. I imagine there would be large number of PLCs. Now, I am not from electronics, but there could be large number of PLCs and SCADAs in a bottling plant, for example. How is this?
I
Yeah.
don't think it should be affected by the number of PLCs.
Okay.
If we have the details of the inventory, that's going to be you can load it through the service graph connectors out of box. There is no additional charge, but you would have to pay for this OTSM switch alone.
Okay.
Which is again ITSM. If you look at the back end, it's an extension of all the tables, -OT.
So Sri Lakshmi, does licensing actually, when you talk about just like IT assets, it would depend upon the OT assets like PLCs, RTUs, HMIs, SCADA servers, OT network devices, sensors, right? So basically licensing is based on OT assets. We can basically look at it. The intent was to look at what exactly is OTSM. Licensing part, probably we need to look more detail, Kumar and Sri Lakshmi. But I think just like IT assets and how basically licensing works, it would have certain element of OT assets as well, Adit. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean,
Next
yeah.
question for me, it's about the implementation. We have only option, it is cloud, or we can have on-premise.
We
So
can
this
have.
can be. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. Yes, on-prem is an option.
Okay.
It's an option.
But with full features.
Sorry?
With full features, if it is on the on-premise.
Yes, certainly, yes.
Okay.
But
That's okay.
yeah, the charge is probably, the costing is probably
Sure.
different.
Supposed to be different, but at least it's sure that it will be now. It's capex more, not like opex,
Yeah.
but at least we have this alternative option for the client. Okay.
Any other questions on any of the slides that we have covered so far? What is OT and OTSM, and why ServiceNow?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
have a question.
CMTP, like we are fairly aware, I think all of us, that it could be desktops, servers, network devices, and firewalls, databases. But how is the asset landscape? How is, let's say, a normal asset landscape or the structure when we say OT? We know it is PLC, SCADA, but can we see what ServiceNow provides, or what are we looking at? Sensors? Or who are the vendors, for example? Is there
I
like
think that
a
is
standard?
business
Yeah.
sensitive detail.
Okay.
We're not going to maintain that. I do not think OT would authorize IT to maintain this information on a publicly available tool. Other than from our conversations with many of the OT vendors, what we understood is they are looking at ServiceNow for tool consolidation, integration of their alert sources into one, and future workflows and governance on ServiceNow. But they're definitely not going to expose, let you run discovery in their OT networks. They're definitely not going to expose how the plant is set up and the network structure.
Okay.
And they have certain rules and regulations that they abide to, which is called Purdue stack of networks that they follow. And I do not think we can scan anything beyond the demilitarized zone, which is OT network. Their own IT cannot enter OT other than receiving the details of, for example, CI with the name of ABC is impacted, but no further details about the ABC can be recorded on ServiceNow.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you say that in IT, okay, there would be someone calling that something is wrong or he cannot log in. could send an email, or he could log in somewhere and create a ticket himself. But I heard Shivmani mentioned when we say OT, it's only one way, and it's a trigger or an alert. But is there like a structure or some kind of that all this specific industry follows? Like, for example, SNMP alerts have a certain format where we can see and break things down. Are they similar alerts, or have we anything from ServiceNow, that some examples, or
Oh, well, yes, I think, but ServiceNow does not allow mimicking those, or we cannot load demo data while installing
okay?
the plugins. But yes, I get the kind of question that you're asking about, to understand, what kind of events come in, kind of look at event inventory. But unfortunately, ServiceNow does not allow us to load demo data. And these differ
Sure.
from industry to industry.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Also, I had this question that how is OTSM evolving with like AI? I don't know, like if in case of ITSM, we can use virtual agents or now assist. So is there something like that with OTSM as well?
Not specifically virtual agent, but you can apply any generative AI or predictive intelligence, which is available for ITSM, can be applied to OTSM as well.
Okay, that
It
means you have to install some plugins and everything.
Yes.
Okay, and those would be paid, right? If you don't use it in a personal instance.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's all I had. I can take in more questions if you have.
No, I think it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sri Lakshmi, and really wonderful interaction that everybody had. So if we are all good, can we go to the next one? Because it's also a panel discussion, and the intent is to make sure that this conversation about asking questions happen. In fact, I would be the moderator, and I would be asking some questions if both the experts allow me. Would that be okay? Can I basically quickly give a small, what do you call, intro about what this panel discussion is all about? Can I share my screen before we jump into this? Is that okay?
Yes. Sir, before
right.
that, I have one question just.
Yeah.
Actually, it's for example, if it's in what scenario, suppose the integration fails. So is there any OTSM functionality that it's automatically create an incident?
Sri
Actually,
Lakshmi,
it's
would you like
question.
to?
Yeah, if the integration fails, yes, we certainly have to have an alert mechanism on ServiceNow. Right, an early warning system on ServiceNow which says that the integration is not working, which is an expected design when we implement these
Okay, means
multiple
ultimately
integrations.
flow it's related to alert system, then goes to next process, right?
Yes.
Yes, fine. Thank you.
All right. So on that note, let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yeah. So on to the next what do you call segment of this meetup, which is panel discussion on asset lifecycle and visibility for OT environments. Remember, we talked about basically this is the CET time zone. It's around 6 p.m. We are basically 10 minutes ahead of the schedule. The panel discussion topic is asset lifecycle and visibility for OT environments. We have got two experts, Sri Lakshmi, who was already a speaker, and Kumar, also basically the expert. So these are the two experts that we have. I would be the moderator. A big round of applause for Sri Lakshmi and Kumar. As I introduced earlier, Sri Lakshmi comes with a very strong background of 18 plus years and specializes in driving automation, aligning technology with business strategy, and shaping future-ready IT roadmaps. Kumar also comes with a very strong ServiceNow background. He is an independent ServiceNow consultant with around 12 years of ServiceNow experience and expertise in ITSM, IRM, SPM, ITOM, CSM, and CSDM. All right. So on that note, let me unshare my screen. Okay, quickly, if I can do that. And I will basically be if Sri Lakshmi, yes. And can somebody spotlight all three of us? Let me do spotlight for Sri Lakshmi. Then we can do spotlight for Kumar. And let me do spotlight for myself. Okay. Here we go. So this would appear that we are right now basically all of us three. And the first question that I'm going to ask our esteemed panel is, when we talk about basically this topic, can you give a background of what is asset lifecycle and visibility? What does it mean in OTSM context? I want to hear from you basically quickly. Can you let our audience basically know and explain what exactly would be asset lifecycle and visibility with reference to OTSM context? Yeah, Sri Lakshmi, you, and then Kumar, you can augment. Even though we talked about it, but from the context perspective, it is important that we come back to it, and then maybe I can start throwing some tough questions to both of you. Okay? You're on mute. So while Sri Lakshmi is fixing, yeah, go ahead, Sri Lakshmi. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. The asset life cycle in OT world is going to be different. In IT, we have short-living assets, whereas in OT, they are probably they live longer. I would say, for example, a robotic arm, probably it is lifetime. So the life cycle comparison of IT assets would certainly be different from OT assets.
All right.
Yeah, I
Probably,
mean, and the longer lifetime definitely means after the initial we'll call what you call procurement and assembly, and then when it is deployed and running the robotic arm. When we say longer, is it like where are we, 15, 20 years, Sri Lakshmi, or
yeah.
more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably 20 years.
So the
25.
support cycle is much longer, I would imagine. Now I have no experience with the OT as such, but if it has to run so long, then support, maintenance, patching, I don't know, that would be much longer cycle.
Yeah, Rohan has mentioned it clearly. Yeah, Rohan has suggested it is acquisition to retirement. That's what basically would be the life cycle for an OT asset as well. Yeah. But before we go to what is OT assets, what do you call life cycle and visibility, I hope that everybody is aware that OT assets are nothing but PLCs, SCADA servers, HMI, sensors. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, Kumar?
Yeah, I think so. I would rely on Sri Lakshmi here.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I'm very
So,
surprised. Is this only this limited? Because when we say IT, it's
Also,
quite, yeah.
yeah, also some of the IT included for enabling these asserts to run.
Okay. Yeah. Before we jump to the question that I think Rohan has, I think OT assets are nothing but these. What could they be? They're part of the plant, line, zone, what conditions they are in, what risks are associated with them, and what are the life cycle? Life cycle, according to what Rohan also said, it is commissioning, whether these are active, whether these are obsolete, whether this is retired or unsupported, right? Now, obviously, when we talk about ServiceNow OTSM, we are trying to put together a unified OT asset inventory, correct? And when we talk about life cycle tracking, it is from design to decommissioning, right? And when we talk about integration, it would be OT discovery, vulnerability, and service impact. So I just wanted to basically highlight the various terminology that we are using. And Rohan had a question. Rohan, you want to say something before I put them on spot once again?
Yeah, Adi, first of all, I would like to apologize if I'm kind of interfering with the format
No,
here.
no,
Well,
absolutely
I will
not.
rather put my questions on the chat rather than disrupting the panel discussion here. You can carry on. I'll put my
No,
questions in
it
the
is
chat.
important. See, again, the idea behind this conversation is not to, we said at the beginning itself, it is going to be interactive. That's how I would love to do it. And I would love to basically ask you, go ahead, ask, please go ahead. Don't put in the chat.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I would like to highlight some of the major business points around the asset management and the industrial terms around it. I hear some buzzwords around the OT assets here, robotic arms, PLC, and so on. Have you been able to see any setups in the manufacturing environments where there are automation solutions, like there are automated manufacturing machineries that are sensor enabled and are capable of connecting to the networks and IoT devices and can interact through the OT network and finally making it to the CMDB for ServiceNow?
I think you pretty much are saying it. So what is the question? What you said is a statement that's a valid statement.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So making it to CMDB with what level of detail is what I have been trying to convey, since some time, that we don't record these details of how the plant is functioning or how a factory is working. That still remains confidential. We just say that we have an asset and the layer that it sits in is 1, 2, 3.
So,
Okay.
Rohan, I can also add a little bit. See, when we talk about automation, it is basically an ecosystem, right? Now, when we talk about an ecosystem, if it is a part of something, yes, it is there. It is part of the entire enterprise or organization or manufacturing system. And when we talk about OT controls in production, OTSM controls reliability and visibility across. Okay. So even if you talk about an automated system, which is basically Industrial 4.0, how do you control the reliability and visibility, right? And the value of automation is only realized when it is connected to business processes. If we are able to give an integrated view and connect different business processes and make it happen, that's how basically the OTSM would come into play. Did I answer it? Ron? I think we lost him. So I don't know whether, and if he comes back, we can again come back to this. So question to the panel here. So for example, why when we talk about IT asset visibility versus OT asset visibility, is it harder? OT asset visibility, is it harder than IT asset visibility, guys? What do you think?
They wanted it to be confidential. It's industrial regulations, Adi. It is not about being hard. It is about confidentiality. Because when the more the detail they give about the asset, more the information about how for example, we take an example of a DC system, right? How many other, the more information they give about, what pressure a DC is maintaining in a chemical plant, and that reveals the business, right? So we don't document the IP, we don't document what the job of a device is, but we just the high level details of the asset are definitely documented.
Yeah, that is also true. But let's say that IT assets. So when we talk about IT assets, normally they are having modern operating systems. Vendor are supporting these IT assets. They are cloud aware. When you talk about OT assets, they have a very long or basically old life cycle. They can be legacy, for example, a legacy PLC or a legacy SCADA, right? The firmware can be proprietary. When we talk about a complete proprietary framework, which is basically something which we don't have access to. Like, for example, when you talk about a router or a switch or basically a device, like, for example, whether it is basically any POS machine, they work on a standard IP mechanism, and it is easier to basically connect to them and find out the visibility seems to be simpler. When we talk about OTs, these machines or basically these controllers can be something which is basically like let's say 1989 made or 1990 made, which is around 30-year-old. The firmware is running and people don't want to touch it. So the problem with the visibility of OT, especially in an entire manufacturing unit, there could be hundred of machines. Some of them can be new, some of them can be old. And why the visibility of these OT assets can be a challenge, because these machines life cycles are long. That's what you also said. It's not something. IT assets basically live and die for let's say 3 or 5 years. The technology gets changed. But when you talk about OT, SM and operational technology, it can be, and people don't touch. If something is running, people say, don't touch it, let it run.
Yes.
Now you want to basically touch it and you want to make it visible, then you have to basically study its proprietary firmware. You need to see how basically things are. All that can become really tough. So ideally, OTSM visibility, that's why it becomes extremely tough, because they can be network isolated. So you need to first of all find out a mechanism to bring them on the network, because the visibility can only come if you are bringing it on. And you also said because of the Purdue stack, there could be also challenges related to security and governance, and people don't want to even bring it. So there are multiple challenges. First, with reference to whether you really want to make it visible. Even if you want to make it visible and you want to bring it in network, it could be a big challenge in itself. That's what probably is, right? Kumar, you want to think and basically answer on those lines, or did I cover it probably, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm the way you are the proprietary part of it and the lack of the device being in the network, all these challenges definitely make it impossible for things that we are normally used to in the ITSM world.
All right, good. So now look, the challenge, like when we talk about basically IT assets and discovery of an IT assets, there is automated discovery, right? So Kumar, can you talk about automated discovery in an ITSM environment where you basically are able to discover automatically before we jump into discovery, etc. in OTSM? I want to hear how do you do discovery in IT assets, right? Can you give us some insights there?
Yeah, I mean, when we say discovery, what we mean that, okay, we want to identify some kind of
IT
footprint.
assets.
We want to
We're
know,
not talking about
we want to
OT
know
for
the
now.
name.
Yes, we are talking specifically on IT asset discovery and how,
Yeah.
and we're talking about, like, for example, when you talk about ITOM and when you talk about ITSM discovery, there could be manual CMDBs or there could be automated basically discoveries. So basically that's where I want you to highlight how does that discovery happens. And before, then we can jump on to the other side of the story as well. Okay. Can you give some
definitely.
insights there?
Yeah. So it basically starts with, okay, is there something that needs to be discovered, right? So you can see that, okay, is there a presence of it either in the network layer that Sri Lakshmi mentioned earlier, right? So you can go that way, or you can directly target.
I don't go to operational technology as of now. I want you to
No, not operational,
basically,
but
yeah, we
even
talk
in
about IT assets and IT discovery. That's what I want you to basically talk about.
Yeah. So in IT, there are two words, right? There is Windows and there is the rest of it. And Windows, you have certain protocols. You have WMI, you have SNMP. So it's a way you communicate back and forth with these IT assets. And then like the way they are designed, you need some kind of access to them, some kind of credential, some kind of key or something. So that's like defines how you would basically scan these IT assets or try to connect to them and exchange some information in the form of tokens, or basically to say, okay, is there a Windows server? You can ping them, right? So that's one way to discover in the simplest form. Or if you want a more detailed discovery, you would say, okay, you would get an account on that server and get more details. Even more details, then you go to the domain controller, which is like the console sitting on top of the network. So in this way, you could discover the IT assets in different ways. You could also say, okay, can I discover a group of IT assets on the virtual network, right? You have these ESX consoles, you have the VMware consoles where you discover all these virtual machines just logging on the ESX host. So you don't need to go and ping all the virtual machines, but basically you ask the console, okay, tell me all the VMs running on the host. So in that way, there could be different ways where you scan, and depending on who you ask, who you are allowed to ask, which credentials you have, and depending on the layer which you ask, you get more or less amount of data back. And basically you say, okay, there is a system with a certain serial number, there is a system with a certain host name, right? So that's like the basic discovery on the IT side of it.
Okay, so before we jump onto the OT side, there is a term we say that scanning, right? So how do you basically scan? Is it easier to basically scan the entire IT devices and IT landscape, and so that you can actually capture them? What is the theory behind that, Kumar?
Yeah, I mean, the IT assets are governed by IP addresses. That's like
Range of
anything that you
IPs,
want
you
to
mean?
scan. Yeah, anything that you want to scan has a certain IP address. That's how they are designed. That's how the modern IT landscape is. So if you just say, depending on the IP range you provide, you get the number of hosts or number of devices back. So it's one of the key criteria to limit your IP addresses so that you don't flood the CMDB with uh, millions of devices, which we probably are not using, not monitoring, and should not be there.
Yeah, very true. So again, now coming back to the question which I wanted to bring for this session, ideally when you start doing this aggressive discoveries and aggressive scanning, they can actually bring down the PLCs, or they can bring down certain system and controllers. So how basically would you be able to accurately discover OT assets without disrupting operations? Let me repeat. So when we talk about ITSM and discovering IT things, aggressive scanning, and then you can look at things, it is easier. But when you talk about OT assets, sometimes when you try to do scanning of PLCs and all, and when you basically throw some data because of the legacy systems and because of the so much data, they're not able to handle it. They can actually bring it down. So when you are basically trying to do discovery of OT assets, how would you basically do more passive OT asset discovery without without disrupting operations? Okay.
Mm, Distributed discovery could be an option. Is one option. Yet we really don't have to run rigorous discovery like we do for IT, because in IT we add asserts almost every day. Something new comes in, goes out. But in OT, when they set up the plant, is when most of their inventory is in place. But after that, there would be minor changes. So the frequency of discovery would definitely be less, and it could be a distributed discovery.
So
Correct.
it is
And
possible to
yeah,
discover and scan
yeah.
OT environments, or
Intranet, intranet, not open probes.
okay.
Yes. Plus, I think you observe. So the idea is that you would like to basically do some. Normally, they do communicate. Like for example, PLC would communicate to HMIs, or PLC would communicate to SCADA and back and forth. So what we need to look at it is that how basically these assets and what kind of flows are there, what kind of firmware versions are there, what could be the relationship and dependency. So unlike IT discoveries, you actually look at exactly the flows, how the systems are actually connected, and then use that. That's how basically the little, and this is more passive than aggressive. This is little more intensive with reference to controlling things out rather than basically assuming things, right? It's more little more intense discoveries that you will actually do in the OT asset discoveries, right?
Yeah, could
Yeah,
be
there's a
kind of
question.
demographic discovery, right? Adi,
Yes,
as you said, just the name and location of that asset, not a lot of detail about it.
correct, correct. And there is basically a question that has come up. Rohan wants to ask, are the discoveries linked to OT change management?
Well, I think I got what he's trying to ask. There are no new installations without change. The changes in IT are more of application level, but in OT it is installations. So every new discovery will have a change much before its discovery.
And I would say that like for,
I would just
yeah, go ahead.
extension instead of typing, I just ask the question in little greater detail. So my question is, when I speak about the change management, so discoveries are logging or detecting some changes when they're executing. Does it go through the proper approval flows? Because that's about the OT change management. Like how does it? I mean, does it really trigger some approval flows as soon as it detects the change? It can be
Well,
version upgrade or something like that, right?
Patching, version upgrades, the way IT works and OT works are completely different. OT is not reactive. Uh, uh, like in IT, we work in reactive fashion. If something happens, something breaks, we fix. But OT, mostly it is well planned. If you're saying that a device is detected in discovery and there is no change in place, I think that's a regulatory miss. So there would be a change, a proactive change approved, and then it will be installed so that discovery can discover it, and it is in alignment with what is expected.
Yeah, I would like to second that, Rohan. What exactly happens is that in an OT change management, first of all, discovery and OT change management must be connected. And every change basically are normally the changes are slow. What Sri Lakshmi said is right. These are not basically very frequent changes like version upgrades don't happen like that. Even if you are changing something, it has to be deliberated, it has to be heavily documented, and any unexpected changes is definitely a risk, much bigger risk in an operational world. So discovery does answer what changed, where did it change, what might be impacted, but change management actually allows us that whether this was deliberate, whether the documentation is approved or not, was it safe, did it go okay, did it behave as expected, right? So OTSM connects these two. Basically, when we talk about nothing changes without visibility and nothing is discovered without context, that's what basically it is. Okay. Did I answer it? Yeah, I think Rohan asked for the question. Yeah, he said thumbs up. Okay. All right. So Meghna has her hand raised. Go ahead, Meghna.
Yeah, hi. Sri Lakshmi and Kumar, it's been very interesting. Thank you, Adi. My question is related because I'm from the field of marketing. I've heard so much and I'm trying to grasp everything. What I understood from the IT SM part is that, you're very, it's everything is measurable. You can talk about the number of tickets you've, resolved and how you've closed, certain incidents and resolved. But when you're talking about OTSM, it's more outcome driven. I mean, so let's say it's not an output driven thing, it's a very outcome driven thing. So when the narrative is set, how do you go to a company and tell them, that something which is catastrophe or the outcome is going to be bad? Let's say you're going to save the community from a national power grid by maintaining the integrity of a power grid. So it's a very, catastrophe driven, outcome driven narrative. In your experience, when you're talking, you're talking to heads of these companies, what is the communication that you go across with that convinces them that the bad outcome is something which can be prevented? in a more measurable way as compared to ITSM. I don't know if I put my question across clearly.
I
I'm
think
more
you
talking
need to
about this.
summarize
Yeah.
it. It was basically very long, so if you can quickly put it in summary, I think
How
I
to
lost it
convince.
actually. I'm so
let
sorry.
me summarize. Let me summarize. I got her
Thank
question.
you,
Yes.
Rohan.
Thank you,
So,
Rohan.
yeah. So basically, I think what Meghna's dilemma here is we are talking too much technical. Yeah. And when we
Yeah.
go and talk to the manufacturing environment, for an instance, we want to speak their language and convince them that we can help them achieve their business objectives. For example, Meghna, I mean, I will leave it to Sri Lakshmi and Kumar to comment more on this, but I give you an example. If I'm going and pitching OTSM somewhere, I would mention some of the KPIs, mentioning overall equipment efficiency, mentioning that okay, my machines are connected with my OTSM network. I'm monitoring them. I have proper management and the people involved. So overall equipment and efficiency is one of the major KPIs there. I can also tell them that I can help you with preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance on the schedules, and that can ensure my OT environment uptime and business continuity. Did I try to answer it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thumbs up.
Something like that. Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
And
And
now you
also
can extend
Meghna.
Sri Lakshmi,
Yeah.
Sri Lakshmi or Kumar.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge that OT has today is their multiple sources of alerts and events, so which is causing them, which is resulting them in duplicated incidents, unproductive workflows, knowledge being with just one person, and these were the challenges that this initiative is going to address. So when all these events are integrated to flow only through ServiceNow, there are no duplicates. And there is right alignment of workflows and ownership transfers. So which will be a pitch.
I can also tell Meghna that, for example, let's say that, and I gave that as an example on how does fragmentation happen. Let's say in the manufacturing line, one line fails and it is failing for last multiple times. Every once in a while, it just goes off. Now, obviously, the current systems or operational technology will say it failed. And how many bottles we could have manufactured now, basically, it is not manufacturing, right? But how do you do basically when you start collecting these incidents and you start building history, you can actually do root cause analysis. You can actually find out what could be the reasons. Is there something happening which is basically causing this? Maybe there is something else which is causing it. How do you collect this data? And this can be now replicated. If you have this information handy, then it can be used somewhere else as well, right? So again, with reference to how do you market it, you need to find out problem statements. How do you basically capture these fragmentation and their existing problems and look at the examples and then take them that how we can actually use OTSM to solve that, right? Did I answer that little more on the business side? Yeah, I think she
Yes,
raised the.
absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. All right. So, look, in the interest of time, I think we have half an hour open networking. We have got 10 minutes for this panel discussion. One question that I would like to ask the panel is, how can asset lifecycle visibility support future plant modernization programs, right? We said that asset lifecycle is much more longer. And but when we talk about modernization programs in plants, um, how do you basically help do that using asset lifecycle visibility support in an OTSM environment?
I think the challenge today is information security. And if we can break that layer, I think we will be at a point that you are expecting, Adi. The only challenge today is visibility. They are more in intranets or in secure networks, which is why they're not as visible as IT assets are.
Right. So from basically looking at, like, for example, when we're talking about modernization, when we have basically an existing OTSM system, you have an idea on basically what are these OT assets, how legacy they are, how they are acting. So when you have captured all these details, and when you talk about modernization, it would actually help you modernize much better because you have better visibility. I'm talking about how better visibility or better when you have a baseline, when you have basically all these OT assets baseline, when I say that you have captured them, you have the inventory with you, you have life cycle, which means that which is installed, which is active, which is end of support, which is obsolete. Yeah, when you have basically different vendor and firmware status, how it is critical, what is not critical, which is this piece which is basically lying there for last 30 years. When people say don't touch it, and there is only one person who is working with us and who knows how to do that, and you have to live with that person. And when you're talking about modernization, you really, and if you walk in into a system without having a proper OT asset visibility, the modernization can be bigger challenge. But when you have an OTSM solution implemented and you have all these OT assets discovered, or even if you don't have, at least you know that these are the challenges, these are the vendors, these are the people managing it. It becomes easier for you to basically plan it strategically. You can pinpoint what can be a challenge, what could be a bigger risk, right? That's what it is, right? Kumar, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, as Sri Lakshmi started with security, that's I think one of the key indicators that could drive modernization. If it comes out that okay, certain OT asset is prone to being hacked. I don't know if it's even possible, but if it comes out to be a fact that certain due to security or due to certain new techniques or protocols or I don't know what not, that it's possible to disrupt a plant and a specific device is like a it's like a weak point, then that is one trigger. The second trigger or indicator could be the life itself of the asset, right? And if certain asset has reached its manufactured provided life, 25, 30 years, 10 years, whatever, then that also could trigger the modernization activity for that specific OT asset. Other triggers I could think of is, okay, efficiency, right? The olden OT assets the modern ones are more efficient, more faster, could be controlled remotely and whatnot. These I think I can think of on top of my head right now that could trigger that, okay, modernization activity. And having said that, then it comes back to, okay, how much information we have in the OTSM system. Okay, we could have the manufactured provided lifetime of an OT device. We have an overview of, okay, how many incidents or how many triggers a specific OT device is sending. So that could mean, okay, a certain device is prone to failure a lot more than other devices. That could also mean a certain devices or that specific OT asset should be modernized or should be replaced.
Very nice. I think this conversation can now lead into a lot of these thought-provoking ideas. I just want to make sure that first of all, I am not going further into details and I don't want to put the experts more on the spot as of now, because I think this is more than thought-provoking discussion we already had. We thought that we will begin with what is practicality and how OTSM and what is the practical nature of that, which Sri Lakshmi did. And then we discussed about OT asset visibility in detail on various aspects. But there are any open questions I would like people to ask, right? Before we make it an open networking session, and I would ask people to talk about themselves and what they're doing. I would ask and take maybe last one or two questions from the audience. If there is anybody would like to ask any questions, guys?
Okay, one question, please. Just for the asset management, it is only for the equipments, or it can for cars and maybe some buildings and facilities?
Also, yes.
Yes. Also the
Everything is an
facilities. Like
asset.
you talk about buildings, like these kind of things, it can also, there is assets management for them.
Yes, they become the plant, and then assets probably under a different category. If it is not manufactured by the plant, they become not part of your network, but they become your other assets, accessories.
And what about this, what you call the description, not description. After a while, the value will come down or less.
The depreciation.
The depreciation. How you calculate this?
That may be
I
out of the
think,
scope of OTSM, right? Because that is more on the
No,
financial
yeah,
side.
that's
you can
thoroughly
Fine.
definitely
outside.
do a business rule which decides the depreciation of each of the product line that you're talking about.
So,
And you have
so
the
in
total value of your assets.
I would
maybe
like to comment on this one.
if I can take it. Hi, Prabhu here. So, Mohammed, what happened for the depreciation? ServiceNow already have certain rules in place for the asset in the asset management area, which can help you to calculate the depreciation. You can define, okay, every year what is the percentage of depreciation you assume or you have already calculated, and you can define that, and it will show you depreciated value under the asset management.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In case of maintenance or the spare part, if you switch mix any maintenance spare part, that affects also immediately,
That's
or you
MRO.
need
That's
to configure.
MRO management. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Prabhu, do we have the MRO inventory management also for the asset management? Hello, Prabhu.
I'm not sure. Maybe we have to check and get back to on that.
Yeah, because normally the asset management in terms of the financial functionalities such as depreciation of the asset requires lot more complex functionalities such as the asset depreciation methods, whether it is declining balance, straight line depreciation, and so on. So usually, I'm not sure whether it is available.
I
Prabhu?
haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen this goes into such details. But yeah, maybe I can have a look at it and let the audience know in this call right later. I can
It would
find
be
out if
interesting
we
to
have
know.
that
Yeah.
in detail.
Yeah, it's a
So
very interesting point actually. Yeah, maybe Adi, I don't know, or somebody else. Could this also be a trigger to modernization because a certain OT asset
Yes.
has no longer any value and is more
No,
of a
no. I
liability,
think
at
you have
least in
touched
the
it.
financial terms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Because you would definitely look at OT assets and whether they are capital intensive, whether it is long lived, has it basically often values beyond financial depreciation. All those could be done. Plus, I think you can integrate with your actual ERP and financial systems, because when we're talking about basically ServiceNow, and if you are getting that data, you could very well integrate with, for example, SAP finance system or ERP, or for example, Oracle itself, right? You can talk about how basically all of this integration can happen, because all that data is there. People look at it and there are different teams. That's why I said that there could be a different financial system, and you can integrate that and say that, look, this is what is happening. These assets are basically 30-year-old. This is basically end of the life cycle. Could be a possibility that the support is ended from the vendor itself. Now there is no support. You have your own, for example, a person who does that. All those things and that visibility helps, right? And that depreciation was a very good question, because you can integrate it, you can actually define some rules that, as what Prabhu said, and and as what Rohan also
What I
mentioned, there could be
understand.
different method as well. Yeah.
What I understand, just for Hadad's clarity, what I understand is mostly this depreciation parameter within the asset management under ServiceNow is used more like a monitoring purpose and very basic level, whereas asset management, the proper fixed asset management, is done inside the ERP by most of the companies in the financial module, where there is asset acquisition is posted to the GL. Its depreciation is calculated over the period and consistently posted to the financial GL module in the financials in ERP. So it will be very limited scope, Hadad, to manage the depreciation
And
within
that's
ServiceNow.
when I began answering, I said it is separate, which is right, because OTSM is operational and life cycle view. And when you talk about depreciation, it actually falls under statutory accounting engine, which is little more on the ERP and the financial ERP systems. You can integrate it. You can also define rules. You can create depreciation methods and say this is what is happening. But ideally, these things basically are existing. how do you combine them also could be part of the visibility as well. That is how as you get into more mature OTSM systems and all, maybe this could be an added advantage too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very interesting.
Yes, I think we touched upon and we actually could actually instigate some very relevant questions and all. It's almost I would say we have consumed what 30 plus 10, 45 minutes odd into this panel discussion, and we can continue. But in the interest of time, because we thought that the last half an hour would be an open networking, which we still are doing it with reference to the topic. But I would request rather than spotlighting ourselves we would stop spotlighting ourselves, and I would request that let's basically have an open conversation here. We would like to hear from you exactly how do you see and what kind of questions you have. It's an open networking session now, right? So Meghna, are we into the open networking session? Is that okay to do it?
Absolutely, Adi. Yeah, it has been a very fruitful session so far, and yeah, the house is open.
Yeah. So before we begin, I think let's basically say that first of all, let me ask you a quick question. How many of you have basically um heard or you knew about OTSM before this particular meetup? Let's basically do a small. Can you raise your hands that yes, you were aware about OTSM, or was this is basically something which we wanted to understand that how did it go? Yes, so everybody, yes, Prabhu obviously knew about OTSM. Other than that, can you basically, all of us basically raise your hand? Yeah. Did you know about OTSM? Surinder, yes, yes. Anybody else?
No, I started looking into it once we talked about this meetup, and the topic was OTSM.
Yes, so everybody who is raising hand, were you aware about OTSM? Surinder raised hand, or you are saying that no, you did not hear about OTSM and this was the first time you basically went through it or you got deeper into it, right? So Sanyukta,
Yeah.
and Arunima and Amit and Rohan and Vedant, can you talk about your experience or when did you hear it for the first time? Amit, OTSM, Sanyukta, when did you hear it for the first time?
Yeah, I
Yeah, you
just
can
check up.
unmute. Okay, this is where we want everybody to speak up. You can say no, maybe you understood my question. Everybody is dropping their hands. Maybe they said that this is the first time they heard. Maybe they misunderstood or misinterpreted it. Rohan definitely seems to be the expert around there. Rohan, can you
Yeah.
basically, yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm OTSM ServiceNow expert. However, I have been new to the ServiceNow, fairly new, maybe the newest one, but I had a curiosity to explore the modules, and that's where I went deeper into it, because I have been working for a very long time in a enterprise business environment, which involved mainly the manufacturing. I can also tell you in some of the businesses where I was selling ERP in my past experiences, we came across some of the MES system that were OTSM enabled. These systems had the sensors. So it's basically the manufacturing machinery that are capable of transmitting their data to the ticket management system and the ERP systems. So these machines would when the machines are down, they would send a signal that something's wrong with the machine, or a wrong input is given to the machine in terms of raw material or something like that, and then the remedial actions are initiated in terms of ticketing. So that's where I got the curiosity, and then I went into the ServiceNow documentation, and I started studying it. But I think
well,
Kumar and Sri Lakshmi has been able to give more insights to the applications, and it's very interesting to take it forward, study it in terms of developing the business acumen while we are pitching it.
yes,
Um, and its capabilities are really supporting some of the business objectives and the KPIs that otherwise we should emphasize on learning and understanding from the customers themselves, and then trying to tailor our pitch accordingly. So
sure,
that's where my
wonderful.
experience started with OTSM. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rohan. And Prabhu, basically, can we hear from you your exposure on OTSM?
Yeah. So I work with a couple of customer where they already started working with OT. So their journey, and in recent World Forum in Munich as well, there were a couple of sessions around how customers started their journey from IT to OT. Yeah, because when we hear ServiceNow, it's all about IT. But then
Correct.
I guess couple of year back, ServiceNow decided, okay, they wanted to enter into a manufacturing area as well, which can help them to grow their business. And not only that, to help the customers, because we have the IT part of those manufacturing companies, but we couldn't penetrate into the OT area because we did not have any capability at that time. Their ServiceNow decided, okay, let's go and check about how we can help our customer to tackle their OT issues as well. Yeah. And one of the key area what I see in the market at this moment, of course, OT asset management is important, but let's more focus on the security side of that. Yeah, because OT assets are really vulnerable when we start adding them into the internet of things and adding them to the internet or Wi-Fi or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of customers when I talk with them and discuss with them about OT, the always first question comes up is security. How I make sure my network, when I start connecting my systems to the network and to bring them onto the internet, how secured it will be. Yeah. And that is where I think when we speak with our customer also while pitching this idea, we should not forget about the security aspects of this OT management.
Yes,
So
I think
true.
very important. Yeah.
Well said, Prabhu. I think that's a one of the points that I was probably seeking when I was talking about, how are we different, or how does it solve the problem of the client. So yeah,
Yeah.
well noted.
And what ServiceNow did, there is a module called OT visibility, which is a part of ITOM, and it also looks into like scan the entire your OT assets using discovery. So we have already on ServiceNow the patterns which can discover your OT assets.
Wow.
At the same time, ServiceNow has also introduced the security part as well to that. So that is something, these two area, I think when we will start looking or getting into market, talking with the customers, these two things really key important points which we can talk with them when we are trying to approach them.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's
And
always like this virus and antivirus discussion, right? And with many devices going with an ability, for example, you have a coffee machine at home and somebody hacks it and it doesn't make your coffee because somebody issued a denial of service. We don't want plants to undergo this. So
yes,
until and unless that level of security is defined, discovery in OT networks is going to be challenging.
true. Very nice. I think it was very interesting thought. Thank you so much, Prabhu, and thanks, Rohan, for bringing your experience as well. Can we have a quick round of introduction by everybody since it's an open conversation? We will start with Amit Lakamji, then Amit, and then go towards that. So Amit, can you basically give a quick background introduction about what you are doing, what is your expertise, and then we'll go down the line just to make sure that everybody gets connected here in this meetup. Over to you, Amit. Amit, are you there? If Amit is missing, then we can go to Amit Bhati. Amit Bhati, can you basically quickly give your background on what you are and what you have done with respect to ServiceNow?
Yeah. For the OT background.
No, no. In general, your background. I understand OT may not be your expertise. We just want to hear from you. What is your overall experience and overall which areas you have worked in with respect to ServiceNow?
Yeah. So I'm from engineering background, and I'm working service now with integrations and discovery setups, and service now that ITSM and HRSD, that all the module. Also, I discover with the OT networks, and I also try to build a demo on the OT. That we are set up with the OT connectors and mid server setups. That's all.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Arunima, can you give your quick background on ServiceNow experience?
Yes. Hi everyone. I'm Arunima. I'm currently doing my master's in Denmark, and I was previously working with AvanteNow and still am, but in mainly in ITSM and HRSD. So I have also done portal. Scoped applications development, and currently I was very interested in OTSM because you're in like in meetups which I go, or in in D2 there are a lot of D2 Career Hub events, and they really wanted people who are interested in who know OTSM. So I was curious to understand how OTSM works, and how is it different from ITSM? Yeah.
Great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Yeah. All right. Over to basically now Pradeep. Pradeep, can you give your background?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Pradeep Ghosh, and I carry 22 plus years of experience in the IT industry, mainly from delivery background, working with AvanteNow QA since last few years. I'm not an expert ServiceNow consultant or technical person, but I have managed multiple ServiceNow projects and RFPs. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Radha, can you go next?
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. Myself Radha Pathak, and now as expertise in knowledge management and requirement gathering also, and OT. Just I curious about operation training system. So yes, the session is also interesting today, and just little bit about security part. I just know little bit about security part, and in big manufacturing company also, and I work on HRSD and employee request, and yes, I expertise in documentation also. Thank you.
Thank you, Radha. Sayukta?
Hello everyone, I am Sayukta Bhupe. So I am currently working with the working in HRSD. So my specialization is in portal development and as well as the backend development. So basically, I first I was knowing with what is OT, but with the today's session, I got a deep insight about how it works and how it is related to ITSM. So I would be eager to learn about it more in the future. That's
Yeah,
all. Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Sayukta. Shivrajji, can you basically go next? Yeah, I don't know. Shivraj, if you're not around, we can go to Surinder Bhati.
No, I'm here. I think I opened my
Okay.
camera also.
Yeah, now we can see. Thank you so much, Shivrajji. Go ahead.
Thank you, Adi. So as you know already, I'm carrying around 16 years of IT experience, and like even like front end, back end, you name it, Java, Python, and React, all those things. But especially in ServiceNow, from last 10 years, I'm into ServiceNow and worked on CSM module, HRSD, ITSM, a little bit of VPN, all those modules. And now again back to working on, as you know, on the ITSM, currently working on the ITSM. And good to know this OTSM actually things that, because as you said, the last month also I'm exploring little thing about what OTSM and how it works, but it's literally too technical. I thought that I, rather than understanding a service now part, I dig into that, what is PLC, how it works, what is SCADA and other things. I think it's
Exactly.
too
I
much
started
technical.
doing that as well.
Yeah, and it's not for service no developer or a backend. It's totally for electronics account. I think Amit Bhatia relate to it. It's for not for computer science background. It's for only electronics people. But really, and thanks to Lakshmi that you cleared our mind that we are not going to work anything on that part. We are only working on service no part. Thanks for that. Yep. Thank you, Adi.
Yeah, absolutely great. Thank you so much, Shivrajji, and what an experience you carry. Thanks a lot. Surinder Bhati?
Hi everyone, my name is Surendra and I carry 5 years of experience in custom web applications development. And it's been around an year I am working in ServiceNow and I have worked on implementation and support of ITSM and HRSD.
Great. Wonderful,
Thank you
Surendra.
so much.
Thank you so much. Vedang?
Yes. Hello everyone. I'm Vedang. Yeah, I completed engineering in information technology, but still I really aware about such kind of PLCs and all these things because or we will work with such kind of electronic background our students and as well. And apart from this, talking about ServiceNow experience, I work with HRSD as well as ITSM's model. Yeah, that's from my side.
Absolutely great. So I think this was a wonderful meetup to begin with. I really want to thank Meghna. You want to basically make some closing notes and then we can wind off little early. I guess if we had some coffee, drinks and all, maybe we could have interacted on a personal note as well. But being in a virtual world, yeah, Prabhu, you want to say something? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, before Meghna just close the session, I wanted to leave everyone with a thought that we now just had an overview of the OT. Yeah.
Yes,
If you really wanted to go deeper into it and get an opportunity to work on it, I would recommend first go through what is the smart industry. Because we started our journey in the manufacturing where we always say that industry 1.0. Then and since I'm mechanical background, yeah, I had done my engineering in the mechanical. I always have that passion about how the industry evolved. So there are a lot of YouTube videos you have where it says how the journey of manufacturing started from 1.0 to 4.0, and then what is the industry 5.0, which is called smart industries. So just whenever you get a time, go through some videos or some information on the website, on the internet, saying that what is smart industry. When you get a basic of smart industry, then you realize why this OTSM is important in the manufacturing industries, and that will help you to really stick to this particular topic and help you to understand not only the technical part, how we can implement ServiceNow for OT, but it just what is the reason, what is the value we are bringing to the customer.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhu, for the input. Definitely.
Yeah. Wonderful. So thank you, Prabhu. And yes, I think very wonderful idea and suggestion there. All right. On that note, Meghna, you want to make some closing comments, and I would request everybody to share their camera so that we can do a quick selfie. That's how basically the normal suggestion is at the end of the game. So if everybody can bring their cameras, we can request somebody to take a selfie, and then I would request if Meghna is around to do a small quick closing.
Yes.
And I would like to thank, because I think a lot of people joined from India as well. 𝐿𝐶𝐲𝐺 is right now in Riyadh, and we have got many people from Copenhagen as well, and from Germany, Prabhu and others, and Rohan. So good. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Meghna, if you can do the honors.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a wonderful evening. Despite I being in India, I'm wide awake, which is unusual for me at this hour because of the interesting conversation. So on behalf of AvanteNow, thank you, Sri Lakshmi. Thank you, Kumar, for sparing your valuable time and giving us these insights. And Adi, of course, for moderating it and also giving us a wonderful, from not even the welcome, but the way he moderated, I don't think he's anything less than an expert. So we should have a dedicated session with him as well. And Prabhu, Rohan, Shivraj, Pradeep, I think what you added from the audience perspective was more than just comments or snippets. I think you all have too much to add, and with each of you I'll be seeking separate time and maybe having an exclusive webinar just with you because of the insights that you shared. So overall, a wonderful evening. Despite no refreshments, I don't think any of us missed it because of the interesting conversation. So let's keep in touch. Do follow AvanteNow on our LinkedIn page, and we'll be keeping in touch there. And we'll keep updating you whenever we have a next meetup in that part of the world or anywhere else for that matter. So thank you, everybody. Good night. Yeah, Adi.
And before we sign off, I think it is a good idea to actually, Meghna, can you start doing something like this online once a month? Even though I think whether we can pull off a meetup in Copenhagen next, Kumar, and we can plan. But I thought that maybe this was a blessing in disguise because of the snowstorm here. I think it would be very interesting to do an online meetup like this and pick up a topic, and we can have our own experts come in, and we can also call external experts.
Yes, I'm calling Prabhu next.
Yes.
Right. So it's a
Maybe on
fabulous
ITOM,
idea.
it would be good idea to get into little more details in ITOM. So we will request our ITOM experts. Maybe you can plan. So it's like I would say once in a
Absolutely.
month, Meghna, if we can do it. And for my own sake, when I basically do it as what Meghna said, I was talking like an expert. No, I'm not an expert. It is just that we could do some research before we doing things, and that's the learning. So when you basically do little investigation and learn, and when you get to hear experts like Kumar and Sri Lakshmi, and then a lot of additions by Rohan and Prabhu. It was a very fruitful night and evening for me. Really appreciate. My sincere gratitude to everybody and thank you so much. Thanks, Meghna, for bringing this to the entire
Okay.
industry.